Hello guys, welcome to part 2 of lesson 1. Now remember, this is just an introduction coding program. So if you don't understand all the aspects of this program, don't worry, we'll be covering them in later videos. I just want you guys to get a feel of coding in C++ before you commit to the whole series. So like I said before, most compilers when you open them will face you with a simple automatic hello world program, which is basically the easiest program you can create, which is why we're going to go a step up. But first, I want to talk about what I would suggest to be the best compilers for you. Now, if you're on Windows, I would suggest doing Microsoft Visual Code as your compiler program. Compiler programs are the programs that will allow you to code. If you're on Mac, I would suggest doing what I'm doing and go on Xcode. Xcode is very useful for Mac users because it's automatically it should be automatically on your computer. Very easy. Unfortunately, for Windows, it's a little bit more difficult. But if you go onto their website, and I'll post a link down in the description, you'll be able to download it from there. Open up your language, your program, create a new program, make sure it's in C++. Most programs will have your name .c++ or .cpp. If you accidentally clicked JavaScript, it will be main.javascript. If you accidentally click Python, it will be .python, and so on and so forth. Or maybe with Python it will be .py, but we won't get into that. Okay, if you're on Xcode, it will be automatically main.pp. You can always create a new one by going File, New, and then Workspace. I'm pretty sure it's Workspace. I'm just going to try that out actually. It wants me to save it all, so I'm not going to go down that way. But if you're on Xcode, just click this one. You should be fine. Now up here, enjoy your legal stuff. Jahornet Games, I'm actually a game developer, so Jahornet Games is my personal indie company. So yours won't say Jahornet Games, yours might say your name, or whatever company you decide to put on. Now, let's run through this. If you don't have these two lines here, would you please pause the video and write them in? Same if you don't have these two brackets here, or you don't have return .0 with a semicolon. Please pause the video and write those things in. Everything bar the grayed out bits. The grayed out bits, by the way, are comments that don't count towards anything. To comment something out, it is 2 backslashes, but I'll get into that in later videos. And for now, what this program is doing is it's just gonna hello world. It's just gonna say hello world and then print a new line. Let's run it just to check. Run it, please. So if it doesn't run on Xcode, just press build, okay? So as it did, it said hello world, and then it started that with a new line. That code you're getting there is from the return 0. Keep that in there because that's showing the program to return the memory and the data back to 0. So it's nothing. But just keep it there. Okay, let's switch up this program a little bit. Keep that up there. If you're on Xcode, keep it down the bottom. If it is getting in your way, feel free to get rid of it. But if you're on Xcode, just keep that down the bottom as a reference for later. Let's make this print out your name. Okay? Or whoever name you want. So, here we go. String. Name equals we want to equals, we'll just do string.name. Make sure to put the semicolon in the standard. And what are these things called again? The two dotty things, I don't know what they're called. Whenever you do something, these are the three that you need to have until we get later on in the video. Until we get later on in the series, and I'll show you how to get past this. But for now, you need to have a semicolon at the end of every statement, and you need to have a standard and two of these dotty things. Very smart dotty things before your statement. Now, you don't want a space in between here because that won't work. You need to get them together. You need to have this semicolon at the end. What that is, that's a variable. That's a string variable. So it could be a sentence or it could be a word. Variables hold data, information. So now what we want to do is we want to go and just follow along with me, even if you don't understand this, right? Again, follow along with me. Standard. C out. Yeah. C out. Space. Sorry, my computer's trying to ship me random things. And then enter your name. Or we could say, hi, what is your name? Okay, and make sure you have that semicolon at the end. Okay, now you want to go standard. This time, instead of going cout, we're inputting something instead of outputting something. So we're going to go cin to input and cout to output. Cin, and because these brackets are going out, because these brackets are pointing outside the computer, they're going out. Right, so now you want to put these going into the computer. And we want to go name. Okay, so what that's doing is it going, whatever you put here, whatever you put as an answer to this, it will store that in the name variable. Keeping in mind that it has to be a letter or a sentence. It could be a word or a sentence or a letter. It cannot be a number. And later in the series, I will show you how to force the user to input correctly. But for now, just input correctly, or your program will start cycling over or shutting down or just going crazy in general, and that's not what we want. So now we want to go hello and now I want to change the cout statement to hello name. Hello name. That should work. Fix. What? Go back. I am having a mental mind blank. How dumb am I? Okay. So the computer was showing me saying it was wrong, which it was wrong. They were saying it's warning me. And so I was getting confused. So basically don't listen to the computer. In between what you want to output, you always want to have these things saying output that, then output this. Okay? So now we want to have another one. We want to go something like this. How's your day been? Okay, something like that. Now here, quickly before I forget, we might want to have a new line. So the user inputs on a new line. We can easily do this by putting / and that's a new line. You don't have to, so in between these speech marks here is what it's going to output. Generally, anything inside there isn't going to be called as the function, it's just going to be outputted. But with the new line, that's an exception to that statement. Anytime you put a new line, it will automatically be counted as a new line, and it will do it. So because that's going to output that line there, we might want to put a new line for this one as well, although it isn't necessary. Okay, so let me walk you through this. This up here is the standard, and this down here is the standard, right? Let's walk through this here. Standard here, standard basically puts it on standard namespace, bring it closer to English. Okay, this is what type of variable you want to be. So you can have a string, an int, a char, a bool, a float, a double float. I feel like I'm missing one. Probably not. No, maybe not. Those are the types. Don't worry about that. Those are the types that you can have. A string is a type where you can input a letter, a word, or a whole sentence, and it will output it. That's declaring the variable, and the variable name is name. And then this is outputting exactly what's in these two speech marks aside from the new line statement. Whenever you put a new line inside a speech marks, it will not output it. On some programs it will. I never actually put it inside the speech marks for this reason, but hey, I guess we can give it a go. I know on CodeBlocks it will output a new line. We'll see. This is saying whatever you type in there is going to be still in here, unless it is a number or anything else but that a word or a sentence. Then this is doing a few things. That's going to output this, including the space. That's going to output whatever you stored in name, and that's going to output this. So that reminds me, to clean it up a bit, we need to do a space here. And then return 0. With everything, actually I should have mentioned this at the start. Everything you want in your program has to be in between these two brackets, aside from these two statements here, because they're just setting up the program. Whatever you want in the program will have to be inside these two brackets, which is why the return 0, because it outputs this, is inside the two brackets as well. Because this is a comment, it will not count towards anything. The computer will just completely disregard. Fin cat. And there we are. There we are. Voila. I hope you guys enjoyed this first lesson. I know it was a bit all over the place, but hopefully lesson 2 won't be this bad. Please stick around to lesson 2.